So I'll be presenting or contextualizing climate change impacts in agriculture and fisheries at the regional and municipal levels. So this is crucial for us to be on the same page, no, sa ating capability building. Especially one focus on climate information services. So this sets the stage for us participants. Primarily, the purpose is to ensure that all of us understand the local relevance, the current conditions, and strategic importance of these training topics in relation to our respective roles, responsibilities, and realities on the ground. So my outline of presentation composes these three main topics. Hopefully, I can establish the relevance and urgency, to ground the learning in the real challenge of climate change faced by the local area, especially in Cagayan Valley and more specifically in Isabela Province. Its vulnerability to typhoons, droughts, and extreme weather. And then show how CIS can address these challenges through better planning, risk reduction, and productivity organization. And also, na-present na rin po kanina yung ating mga expectations and objectives. And hapya pong ma-clarify what CIS is and why it matters to agriculture and fisheries stakeholders. And also ensure that all of us, government agencies, LGUs, SUCs, and farmer groups know how the training links to broader development goals like resiliency, sustainability, and food security. And then hopefully I can bridge the policy to practice, provide policy backdrop such as the role of CIS in climate adaptation, frameworks, disaster risk reduction, and agriculture modernization programs. And map the local landscape and present the existing CIS ecosystem that our agency, Department of Agriculture, has been doing. Who produces, translates, and disseminates our use of CIS, and what gaps or barriers exist, either technical, behavioral, or institutional, and what has been done so far, like early warning systems or seasonal forecasts. So, to start with, let me present yung performance of the agri-sector in Cagayan Valley. So this is lifted from our registry system for basic sector in agriculture. This is a live data. So yung ating mga LGUs po, especially the municipal agriculture officers, has been inputting this or updating this registry system of our farmers. So as of this date, we have 678,026 farmers registered for the whole region po ito, with average age of 49 years old. And then meron tayong PWD farmers na 7,833, and 89,000 of these registered are members of IPs, and 26,000 are ARB beneficiaries. So another demography of this database, we have 60% male and 40% female. And with this age group demography, mostly are on the bracket of 46 to 58 years old. And income ranges from 8 to 10,000, and then also educational background. Pinakamataas po dito yung mga high school graduates, then elementary, then college, and among others. And most of our farmers are married, and then single, and then yan po. So, ang mga top commodity na registered po sa ating database ay number 1 po ang rice, number 2 ang corn, number 3 ang livestock, number 4 ang cattle farmers, and 5 ang onion. But the rest, di pa na po na-include dito, may mga respective or focus commodities din po ang iba't ibang municipalities like ang kanilang mga champion commodity like high-value crops. So the impacts of climate change in agriculture, let me focus on the above normal temperature and yung reduce or less rainfall. So on the above normal temperature, it can cause heat stress in our crops. So it reduces the crop and production. And ang above temperature po accelerates evaporation of water and increase water demand and may lead to drought and soil moisture depletion. So na-stress po ang ating mga crops due to lack of irrigation or moisture ng ating soil. And then parallelly, dahil less rainfall, we have reduced rainfall can lead to drought conditions affecting soil moisture and irrigation capacity. So with water scarcity due to insufficient rainfall, it can reduce crop growth and increase vulnerability to pests and diseases. So as mentioned by Dr. Pulhin kanina, last year we have 6 typhoons in 26 days. So let me just show you the impact of these typhoons to our agri and fisheries sector caused by Super Typhoon Julian, the severe tropical storm Christine, Typhoon Leon, Typhoon Marce, Typhoon Nika, Super Typhoon Ophel, and Super Typhoon Pepito. Starting from September 2024 to early November. So ito po yung visual representation ng the 6 typhoons in 26 days for Cagayan Valley. So nandyan po yung mga typhoon path nila. So ni-ravage po nila ang ating region, yung green part sa northern Luzon with their corresponding dates of occurrences or so let's delve or dive into the details of the damages and losses in crops and livestock. Ang total estimated value loss in Philippine peso po ay 1.166 billion pesos. This is data from DA-DRRMO, with Cagayan having the bulk of the damage, 83%, Isabela 4%, then Batanes 8%, and Vizcaya 5%. And estimated yield loss in metric tons ay 3,573, and estimated farmers affected 28,827, and area in hectareage ay 26,384.39. At yung partially damaged, 24,000, and totally damaged, 2,000 hectares. So ang affected commodity po dito ay ang rice, 60%, and then high-value crops, 17%, and then ating mga agri-infra, 13%, and corn, 8%, and followed by fisheries. Okay. So yung top 5 badly hit by municipalities by Tropical Cyclone Julian ay ang the municipalities of Calayan, Bugay, Claveria, Ballesteros, and Pamplona. So with their production loss in Philippine peso, umaabot po ng 843 million for Calayan, 195 million for Bugay, 170 for Claveria, 92 million for Ballesteros, and 88 million for Pamplona. So most of these municipalities are in the coastal areas of Cagayan. And then for Tropical Storm Christine and Typhoon Leon, na naganap po noong October 22 to 24, 2024, ang estimated total value of loss ay umabot sa 1.3 billion. And medyo yung kanyang pat ay baba. So lumaki po ang damage for Isabela Province na 39%, with yield loss of 67,000 metric tons, and dumami po ang affected farmers, 47,678, with affected area of 44,212 hectares, and then partially damaged na 41,244 hectares, and totally damaged na 2,964. And bulk of this affected commodity ay rice pa rin, and then high value crops na 16%, and then corn, fisheries, livestock, and infra. So ang top 5 badly hit municipalities po dito ay ang Solana, Cagayan, Quezon, Isabela, Tumawini, Isabela, Santiago City, Isabela, and Piat, Cagayan. So with their corresponding production loss in Philippine peso again, Solana incurred 103 million, Quezon 82 million, Tumawini 71 million, Santiago City 68 million, Piat 50 million. For Typhoon Marce, last November 6 to 7, again, it reached the 1 billion mark, 1.1 billion. Most of this ay sa province of Cagayan. Estimated yield loss metric tons is 24,680. Affected farmers, 28,253. And then total affected area is 21,664.2. Broken down into partially damaged na 12,700, and totally damaged na 8,928 hectares. So ang affected naman dito ay ang high value crops na 42%, rice 35%, and then infra na 12%, and then fisheries 7%, and then livestock and corn tig to 2%. So yung top 5 badly hit municipalities from the province of Cagayan, Santo Niño, Cataran, having more than 100 million peso production loss. Then Sanchez Mira, almost 100 million, 96 million. Bugay, 94 million, and Claveria, 70 million. For tropical cyclones Nika, Ophel, and Pepito, occurred last November 10 to 18. So mostly ang affected naman dito ay ang Isabela Province, with estimated total value of loss na 3.2 billion pesos. So coming from Isabela is, ang share po ng Isabela dito ay 87%. So estimated yield loss po nito ay 136,000 metric tons, and estimated farmers affected 44,422, and total affected area 39,757 hectares, broken down into partially damaged 31,000 hectares and totally damaged 7,926. So bulk of these damages came from the high value crops na 69%, and then fisheries, 12%, and then rice na 9%, then infra, 8%, and corn, 2%. So ang mga affected municipalities po dito ay ang Jones Isabela, Itiaga Isabela, Cordon Isabela, that have more than 400 million each production loss. And then Benito Soliven, 231 million. And San Mariano, 205 million. So ang list of interventions na ginagawa po ng Department of Agriculture ay itong mga quick response po natin. So sa rice, ang ating rice seeds intervention, and then our fertilizer discount vouchers. Then sa corn, sa hybrid corn seeds din, and then sa high value crops, assorted vegetable seeds. Then livestock, native chicken, Muscovy duck, totaling to 866,337,205. So ito po yung mga documentation ng ating mga damage sa ating crops in Region 2. So aside from the typhoons, meron din tayong El Nino last year. So this is our official damage report in the agri-sector caused by El Nino. So for rice, we have a total value production loss of 635 million for the province of Isabela and 158 million for Nueva Vizcaya. And then for crops na corn, we have a registered production loss sa Batanes na 158,000. For Cagayan, 491 million. And then for Isabela, 512.8 million. And for Nueva Vizcaya, we have 121.5 million. And then for high-value crops, so ang damage ng El Nino for Isabela ay umabot ng 141 million, followed by Nueva Vizcaya, 78 million, and Cagayan, 44 million. Then Quirino and Batanes have less than a million production loss value. Then for livestock, affected din po ang ating mga livestock farmers sa Isabela, umaabot ng 2.2 million, and fisheries, ganoon din po, 11 million fisher folk for Isabela. So this is our adaptation and mitigation arm for climate change ng Department of Agriculture, ang AMIA. Now, renamed na po sa Climate Resilient Agriculture Office. So, ang flagship programs or interventions po ng AMIA ay naka-course through sa mga AMIA villages. So, since ang resources po ng government, limited pa rin po, so ang mga interventions on climate change ay pinapilot pa lang sa mga AMIA villages na identify ng AMIA program. So with this framework, we identified those AMIA villages across the region. So ito po yung framework ng IPCC. So hindi po siya yung ICC, ha. So Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, ang climate risk vulnerability ng isang community is a factor of sensitivity, hazard, and adaptive capacity. So we use this framework to identify the AMIA villages across our region. So the results of the CRVA in Cagayan Valley, so na-complete po yung mga CRVA analysis nito. Special mention po yung Isabela na completed po noong 2017 pa. Ginawa po ito ng ISU Kabagan. So, it is due for updating na rin po yung kanilang adaptive capacity. So yung tatlong provinces na Vizcaya, Quirino, and Batanes ay recently na complete by our DA in-house research team. So ito po yung map. So ang map po nito ay yung isang parameter dun sa IPCC framework, yung hazard lang po. So ang kinonsider po na hazards dito ay yung mga climate-related, the floods, landslide, tropical cyclones, erosion, sea level rise, and storm surges. So the darker red areas or municipalities are those very high, and the lighter ones are very low in hazard risk. Let's focus on Isabela po. So ito yung sa drought map, erosion, flood, landslide. So ang resolution lang po ng aming study is by municipal level. So hindi na po siya by pixel or by vector analysis. So ano lang siya. By raster analysis, but by vector na lang po. So yung the very dark areas municipality ay yung very high, and yung lighter areas ay very low. For these hazards, drought, erosion, flood, landslide. And also other hazards, sea level rise, storm surges, and tropical cyclone. And also we computed the overall hazards, combining all the hazards na available. So with these maps, we identified the AMIA villages. So we have a total of 25 AMIA villages established in Region 2 so far. So we have 20 in Isabela, 3 in Cagayan, and 1 each for the Vizcaya and Quirino. And broken down into these farmers, cooperative associations. So in Cagayan, we have Balesteros, Bugay, Sanchez Mira. And then in Isabela, we have 4 in Benito Soliven, 1 in Cabagan, 1 in Kawayan, or 2 in Kawayan City, 3 in City of Ilagan, 1 in Gamu, 1 in Reina Mercedes, 1 in Rojas, San Mariano, Santiago City, Santa Maria, and Tumawini. And for Nueva Vizcaya, we have Bayombong and Quirino, Nagtipunan. So, na-identify po itong mga areas or municipalities through those previously presented hazard maps. So, among these 25 AMIA villages, meron din siyang categorization. Meron siyang Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4. So yung mga Phase 1 po dito, yung mga newly identified, ito yung mga interventions namin ay yung mga institutional development pa lang, mga organization of their associations or cooperatives, making them to be viable as legal entity to accept further interventions from DA. And then sa Phase 2, yan na yung mga established na villages. And then Phase 3, they have slightly advanced climate resilient interventions na ginagawa. And then Phase 4, yung 2 villages, ito yung dalawang very sustainable na kanilang village, considering na they have now agripreneurship interventions and also sustainable na kanilang mga CRA practices. So ito po yung mga most common CRA practices in our AMIA villages. So number 1 po dito yung the use of the climate information services. Na yung kanina, yung agroclimatic advisory portal. And then they now use strength-tolerant varieties for rice, corn, and other high-value crops, and also other livestock species. And then for farm diversification, they integrate other productive crops in their farming cycle. So yung kanilang farm duck, farm rice, cropping patterns. So they have diversified and thus stable ang kanilang mga income and thus making them resilient through climate shocks. And then water management technologies. So they have rainwater catchments like irrigation facilities and all other renewable energy water sources like solar-powered irrigation, among others. This one naman po are those existing crops or commodities doon sa ating mga AMIA villages that they can diversify. They have diversified for their productivity. So sa Cagayan, we have rice, corn, lowland vegetables, watermelon, livestock and poultry, and other legumes and root crops. And then for Isabela, we have rice, corn, lowland vegetable, tobacco, root crops, and livestock and poultry. Then for Nueva Vizcaya, same, rice, corn, lowland vegetable, watermelon, livestock, and legumes. And Quirino, ganun po, meron lang siya sa tobacco. And then ito yung dun sa 2 villages na very sustainable na po sila. They have the agripreneurship intervention. Ito po yung sa Lukban Small Water Irrigation System Association Incorporated. They have the brown rice technology-based enterprise and farm machineries. So, di lang po siya sa brown rice, so they have also service facility or machinery services po, like tractor and hauling trucks. So they have buy and selling of palay and farm machinery business. So yun po yung about our presentation. So yun po, and thank you very much for listening.